All right. Shalom, shalom to the brethren. All praises to the Most High, the Creator of the heavens and the earth. Thanks to His Son, Yahushua Mashiach. Uh, this is the chop up where we speak about issues in and about the the uh, the nation of of Hebrews, uh, blacks, Negroes. We got so many different titles and names and things, but we speak about things concerning us, spiritual, political, uh, 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 personal, and we just bring them out uh, and speak about these things. Today, we are speaking about the office of a patriarch here in America, and really, truly, all over the world. We have uh, we have lost to a large extent, the office of a patriarch. We have been destroyed in most cases in the household, but it's not by accident. Uh, it has been by political, social, and I dare say even a spiritual design due to our uh, lack of discipline, um, loyalty towards our Creator, and even towards ourselves. So we're now in a rebuilding stage of of returning back to patriarchy and male dominance and rulership in the home. And here I have two awesome brothers here, um, who I have a lot of respect for what they've done personally, uh, uh, spiritually, um, just with themselves, their families. And I felt like what these two uh, brothers have to offer to the nation is valuable and much needed in this hour. So I would like to introduce to you Haji Golightly and Saram Yaanaya.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Um, uh, you two brothers, Haji, also of House of Dawid, um, uh, fine jewels, rare jewels, uh, husband, father, brother, jeweler, uh, patriarch, uh, Siram, has a lot of outreach with the homeless. He has a um, wilderness survival training, teach people about you know surviving in the wilderness. You know, about herbs and what do you call it, first aid, things of that nature. Um, uh, welcome, welcome to the chop up. Both of you's first time here. Well, no,
Yep.
Simon's been on. Simon's been on before, but it's Haji's first time.
Yep.
Thank you for joining.
Okay. Shalom, shalom.
All right. I have a list of questions. You guys would take a few minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, if need be, a piece to address them. I'll start with Haji first. What does it mean to be a patriarch to you?
Oh man. Well, shalom. I can appreciate just the opportunity to just to share my perspective. I'm humble when someone wants me to speak on things of this nature is something that the Most High has been dealing with me about for some time. You know, I honor the Most High. I thank Him, and I thank Him for loving us enough where He sent us His only begotten Son. I honor my patriarchs. I am Haji Golightly or Dawid Yehuda. I am the son of William, who was the son of Daniel, who was the son of Freeman, who was the son of George. This is the great line of men that the Most High chose to bring me through. So I can't disconnect from them and just jump back to Abraham. I think that we dishonor the Most High when we try to do that. I understand that, you know, in the environment that we're in, you know, everyone may not be able to do that prerequisite research or even know who their patriarch is. I get that. But we still need to, you know, resolve it within ourselves and be at peace with the plan and the path that the Father has us on, because it falls into His sovereignty, that ultimately He is in control of all things. So when we talk about patriarchy, the you know, we're taught that He is our heavenly Father. So if we are to be His representatives on earth as men, we should try to emulate the behavior, the character, and the nature of our heavenly Father. Now, when we talk about the patriarchs, you know, we tend to start with Abraham. So the question was, what does it mean to be a patriarch? It means that your intentions are to function in the office that Abraham did. Abraham is alive and well in each of us this very day because of the sacrifices that he made. And so we have to determine in our heart of hearts that we're going to walk that very same path of revelation, of discovery, of being tried and increasing every time that you are tried, you increase as a result of that. And then ultimately to be able to, so I also must give proper attribution to my elder, the Honorable Dr. Thomas Murray, who is the greatest patriarch that I've ever known. And it's not just taking the title, you have to have the fruit that goes with it. So how, men may define patriarchy or a patriarch many different ways, but I'll just share with you the definition that I was given, that I found in a text. And that is a man that has raised an adult male that is in the way, that is walking in the way and follows his father. You know, you're raising an heir. So it is one thing to have a child, but to have an adult male that will vouch for you and for your line, and he's following after you, that's when the whole patriarch aspect begins. That's the definition that I subscribe to. Other men may subscribe to, you know, something else. It's not that one is right or one is wrong. It's just I wanted to clarify what I meant by being a patriarch. So for me, I have adult sons that are in the way, that follow after the path of their father in this ancient tribal structure that we're living in.
All right, all right. Hallelujah. Um, great definition. Oxarum,
Psalms
uh,
going. Shalom,
to
shalom.
you, what does it
Uh,
mean to you to be a patriarch?
First I say, you know what I'm saying, all praise to the Most High, because the brother gave a good analogy on a lot of key points that I would totally agree with. Excuse me. Me myself as a budgeting elder, right? You know, I've been amongst a lot of different communities, a lot of different countries, and based upon my understanding of patriarch, right? The patriarch sets the tone for the spiritual, mental, and physical foundation of his tribe or family, whatever have you, right? Even when you look inside the scrolls and look at the beginning, whether that patriarch becomes the ethnarch, he becomes the tetrarch as well. You know, so today it seems that the people have lost the sight because that term patriarch has been smothered so far down, right? To where it's almost obscured if a person doesn't have some type of understanding himself. Legacy is everything, right? We expound about all our theological constructs. We expound upon the legacy of forefathers, be it biblical or just modern day, right? And I totally agree with the brother that we can't go back 2,000 years on a generation and forget our fathers, grandfathers, great grandfathers, and what have you. We can't forget that part of the patriarch system either. And we have to still thank them because us today, right? We're living examples. You know, I got a saying that my father used to give me. My father used to say, our forefathers prayed for help and we were born. You know what I mean? So in looking at that, us as men, especially those of us over 40, we're stepping into that patriarch shoe as well, if we're going to fit the characteristic of it. You get what I'm saying? So in accepting that term, you have to ask yourself, am I fit to be a patriarch? And you have to be humble enough to look at the answer of what you get, right? To live up to that. Because we're going to need it. The children are going to need it. The foundation has been set eons ago by forefathers that's walking in up under the banner of the Most High, period, to be a standard. So those standard bearers, those patriarchs, that standard bearer has to step forth once again to assume that rightful role. I didn't want to go back and go over too far from, because what the brother just said was awesome. Literally, you know what I'm saying? And I totally wholeheartedly agree. So my take on a patriarch would be the foundation for a legacy, especially up under the banner of the Most High.
All right. Hallelujah. Great answer. Great answer. Um, question number 2. What are key focal points of a patriarch in the life of his daughter, of his son, and wife? If you could address those separately. I don't know if you guys have daughters, but I'm sure if
Yes.
you had one, you'd have a certain way in which you would deal with them. So for anyone watching, give your opinion of key focal points that you would uh, address with each individual one. We'll start with Ak Aksara.
Um, I said Bismillah in the name of the Most High. Me myself having 6 daughters, right? And in today's society, we have to look at the imagery that has been set forth. And in all honesty, right, the foundation that we're gonna, I mean, everybody wants a virtuous daughter, right? Everybody wants a virtuous daughter. So that means that as a father, you're gonna have to set the tone for the type of man that's gonna be in her life. You're gonna have to set the tone. You're gonna have to set the character type, because she's either gonna choose somebody who's worse than you or somebody who's better than you. Do you get what I'm saying? You really got to look at that, especially coming from a daughter. As a son, me myself having a son as well, and teaching him, am I going to teach my son to be my replacement? So that means that in all aspects, whether it's provider, protector, and preserver of the legacy or the foundation that I'm laying as the patriarch of my entire family, because I'm the elder in my entire family, right? I have to set that tone. So in understanding that, I had to set that tone and let them know that it's not us that's doing this. We just the vessel shoes. All this belongs to the Most High. You have to actually give them that. You have to give them that. Because if not, it's going to be easy for them to step off the path. It's going to be easy for them. So in setting that tone, like I said, and as a wife, we all say we want a virtuous woman. The fact about wanting one and are you ready for one? It's a lot of different things, because we don't want to become tyrants in our own household. We don't want, this society is thrown so many thorns at us in every aspect in today's society that our forefathers did not have to deal with. The legal system, the law system is not founded upon family. It's not founded upon man being the head of the household neither. So in answering that question, on from my perspective, the key focal points now, as man laying the foundation, as you head of the household, as patriarch, laying the foundation for not only law in the house, discipline in the house, but humbleness and humility in the house as well. So that burden today falls very, very heavy on the man that decides to step forward as the patriarch of his family, whether he's the father, the husband, or the brother. But he's gonna have to set that tone. And there's a possible way to do that. It's feasible and it's practical. And pulling examples that you have, that you can go inside the narratives or the Torah, and many good historical examples on what you need to do to keep that characteristic. Because your, how you say, your quantity of intelligence, it should show itself in your quality of life. And your children, the fruit, you're gonna see where you're at with your children. And so you're gonna have to be vigilant. You're gonna have to be in today's society as the patriarch of your family.
Great. Haji, same question. What are the key focal points of a patriarch in the life of his daughter, his son, and his wife individually? I can't hear you, Haji. You muted. There you
Okay,
go.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
That it isn't. That's not. Is we can unpack it, but I have to back it up some when I talk about the office of Abraham. I want to read this Genesis chapter 18 real quick, because it sets the tone, because I talked about earlier the office of Abraham. I just want to read this Genesis 18 and 17 through 19 real quick, just to so you understand my perspective. This was right before the Most High was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. It says, and Yah said, and I'm not going to get into any doctrine. I really don't get into another man's doctrine that's sacred to him. So it's not a doctrinal issue that I wanted to just lead with that. But in Genesis 18 and 17, it says, and Yah said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. Here's the key verse. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of Yah and do justice and judgment, that Yah may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken to him. So the brother Sarim, he made some great points in terms of family structure. It is a given that in order to be a patriarch, you have to have a great matriarch, or you could have multiple wives, single wife or multiple wives, that are helping you to execute the vision that the Father has given you, that assignment in the earth. So part of the reason why Abraham was such a friend of Yah was because Yah could trust him to guide and direct his family, to command them. And that commanding is not in a harsh way. The Honorable Elder Murray taught us that the patriarch has to be the most kind, loving, forgiving, generous, and nurturing person in the whole house. Just like how Sirach says, you shouldn't be a lion in your home. That patriarch has to model the behavior that he wants to see in those that belong to him. Now, that statement, Brandon, brings in possession. Those that belong to him. Does your family belong to you? Now, they may have come from your loins, but is your voice the heaviest voice in their head? Can you direct them? Now, what do you mean, Hodge? I'll tell you. I talked to you, Brandon, about betrothals. I have 5 seeds. One is married, the other 4, all of them have betrothals on the table, where I've come into covenant with men to direct them. My daughter will not choose who she will be with. I will choose that. Why? Because she belongs to me. She's mine. If so the question is that daughter or is that son truly yours, or do they belong to the world? Because if they belong to you, you should be able to direct those people that the Father has given you that came from your loins. Now, that's not a judgment against anybody. I'm just sharing patriarchy right now. Why Abraham was a friend of Yah. He could command his children and his whole household after him. And if you can't, then you got some work to do. So, you want to say something up?
Well, I was gonna let when you're finished, because what you said was so profound, right? I would like Oxarene, when you finish, to expound on that point you made, because I feel like that is a very, very key thing you just said, and see, that's why you're here, because I know that's how you think, I know that's how you are, and so finish your point, and then I'll let Serene address that, and then we'll go on to the next question.
Okay. So I'm only sharing what I've been taught and what I've seen and discovered in a text. We don't have to make it up. So if you, like the brother said, you choose a virtuous woman, that virtuous woman is going to line up behind you, and she's going to encourage those children to listen to their father, follow after your father. Your father has your best interest in heart. He's a great man, a loving man, a generous man. She should direct those children toward you, and the world should not have them. Now, that gets into the elements of family structure. That's a whole nother conversation. But to really uh, answer the question, that the focal point for a patriarch in the life of his daughter is possession. My daughter is going directly from my house into the house of her husband. The chain of custody is complete. No, doesn't get access to her. I give you an example. My daughter was doing a business class, and what happened was they said, well, you know what, you guys exchange emails and see if you guys could like do some work on the side. And she nodded, and she came to me a few minutes later, Brandon. She was like, Dad, there were young men on the line. Now she's 15. She's a young woman. She's 15. She was like, those men don't have access to me. We don't go back and forth. I'll allow her brother Isaiah to feel those emails and conversations, because she knows that her value is that these men that one are not her family, not her father, and not her potential husband, don't have access to her. That's how she's raised. So she knows that she belongs to a man is going into the house of another man. And the same thing with my son. They're being directed in specific areas, so that they're going to come back and live with their father after they gather resources, and then we're going to build, because they know that their father's house is their house. So I'll yield right there, because I could just keep going, man. I just keep going. I'm telling you.
Hallelujah. Y'all willing, we will keep going later on in this. But Oxarene, uh, what are your your feelings about what Haji just said about you know the 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 children and the wife actually being his and not the world's, and actually reverencing him and his opinion, and also the fact that he actually has jobs and goals for them.
Kane,
That he
Kane,
actually has things for them to do.
you got
Speak
a
to that.
teacher. Kane, you're gonna have to teach your slicker. You're gonna have to teach your children. You're gonna have to give them a trade. You're gonna have to teach them to be how you say they're gonna be beneficial to the household. You can't legacy is everything. The foundation is everything. So actually, it's like the brother was just saying with your daughter. I too am the same way as far as like choosing the ideal mate for my daughter. That's beneficial for not only my household but somebody else's as well. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want a tyrant, but you don't want your daughter to be a tyrant either. So in looking at it from that perspective as a patriarch yourself, right? The focal point and the tone that you're going to have to set, because as a patriarch, you serving the Most High, that means that your child belonging to you belongs to the Most High.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hallelujah. Great answers. Great conversation. Um, let's see here. On the lighter side, let's see, how important is physical fitness? I happen to know that both of you are in great physical shape. Uh, uh, how much of a role does that play in the mind of a patriarch and in his family? We'll start with Haji.
Yeah, great question, man. Thank you for that. Great question. Many times in this walk, not just following the Israelite tradition, but also you could start off in Christianity. People they only focus on the spiritual aspects and they allow their bodies to just waste away. They're not honoring their vessels. You want to be a vessel of honor. Like, this is the only body that I have, so I'm not going to poison it by feeding it trash and not trying to maximize it to get the best out of it to ensure its longevity. Because I don't want to be old and out of shape, and I'm not just talking about physical. Well, it is. Let's just say I'm not just talking about size and dimensions. I'm talking about actually being in shape where you have flexibility, you have range of motion, that kind of thing. But to your point, I've shared this before that I was just really, really heavy in prayer, and it was just impressed upon my heart some years ago how I had to be spiritually, mentally, and physically strong for the times that lie ahead. In that order, you have to be spiritually strong because you know where your help comes from and who you serve. You have to be mentally strong so that you don't break when you see the trials and things that are going to happen, and be fully resolved because you've already pre-acted before those times come as to how you're going to conduct yourself. And then physically strong, where if you need to, if they shut down the highway, if you need to run home and get there because your children are there, and it's trouble outside, you got to be able to get there in a decent amount of time, as well as there's other strategies that we are in support of and believe that I'm not necessarily going to say it here, but there are other strategies as well. But the physical readiness for that was put in me from a young man at 17, being in the military, and I've always just tried to maintain a level of it, not at the same level it was back then, but you got to know the season that you're in. So physical fitness is very important, and I will once again reference Abraham, how when they took Lot captive, he was able to take 300 of his servants and they was ready to fight. They were conditioned for this time. So I always draw back from the beginning, because we know that the end is the beginning. It's cyclical. It's going to repeat itself.
Great answer. Great answer. And yes, it said they were trained servants. They had prepared. Um, Serene, Sarum. I'm sorry. How important to you is physical fitness?
Different ways we can come at that, right? So, I think that physical fitness is an absolute. I deal with physics a lot. You know what I'm saying? Physiology a lot, right? And in my studies and in my teachings and a lot of the books that I've written, a lot of things that make sense. Me myself, once I walked away from cancer in 2014, right? But it was in me changing my diet and me understanding the conditions in that whole entire process. You know what I'm saying? If you study and that's all you do is study and you don't work out, there's an imbalance. If you work out and that's all you do is work out, but it's not equal to your academics, it's going to be an imbalance. Too much play makes you brutish. Too much non-play makes you feminine. You understand what I'm saying? So in understanding that there has to always be a balance in all things that we do, right? Physical fitness, especially as a man in the house, right, tells exactly where your position is in the household. Because if you're not fit, my in my survival company, we have a saying, and the brother with military experience, it's like saying if you don't been in any other country and you got combat experience, you'll understand me when I say that you can't keep what you can't protect. And I don't just mean that physically neither, though, right? Because the physical act itself is a byproduct of the mental as well too. The mental is a byproduct of the spiritual as well too. So you have to actually work on all three. It's a holistic approach in all aspects. If I went inside the scrolls and the Most High said, with all thine might, with all thine heart, with all thine, that's spiritually, mentally, and physically. So you have to give that whole content of yourself. Elsewise, that's going to be an imbalance.
And he hates unjust balances, unequal
Kane,
balances.
Kane, Kane.
Um, Great answers. I not a surprise to me. I knew that you guys had these kinds of minds. I'm just happy that you two were able to come together to present this to the public. And it's like you guys are affirmations to each other, because you guys don't know each other. But here we have two men that come from different uh, backgrounds, but yet you guys can come to the same conclusions, which is amazing. Uh, which is what the chop up is all about, for real, finding common ground. Uh, uh, Ak Saru,
Okay.
how important is military slash discipline? I mean, militancy slash discipline to a patriarch. Now, being mindful of the times we're in, and being mindful of a fear by the ruling class of an uprising, we want to focus more, on discipline and awareness of, uh, let's say, tools of discipline. How important is it for a patriarch to 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 heighten his awareness of all forms of discipline and all forms of defense, I should say.
Um, Drawing upon experience, right? Um, Military and growing up in the streets and everything else, right? Discipline, right, is the highest art of every art, period. Self-discipline is the highest art of every art, period. Without that, the militancy don't even matter. Without that, the awareness doesn't even matter. Not knowing when, how, who, what, I hurt you. Be the leader of your family, right? It's like saying, I know that every one of us, we should actually understand that when we walk out the front door, right, and leave, anybody walks out the front door in the society that we live in, you know what I'm saying? Most High forbid, but there's a possibility that whoever walks out that door, you'll never see it again. As the leader and man or head of your household, have you made provisions to protect, provide, and preserve your household in the possibility of your absence? So that means that not only must you discipline yourself so you can teach your children the same, but you're going to have to teach your wife as well. You're going to have to fortify your assets, teaching them not just how you say awareness, but how to think. We living in a society, we living in a day and age, right, where anything could happen. We can govern ourselves. We can drive down the street to the best of our ability, and it's the other guy that's driving that might offend you. You can prepare yourself with 1,000 guns in your house, but it's the stray bullet of the guy down the street that might get you. How far is your awareness? Is your awareness 360 or is it just 180? It's a lot of things that come with self-discipline that you're going to have to be mindful of. It's not a fear tactic. It's teaching yourself to become more insightful. And what that does is you're drawing upon that essence of the Most High within you, right? To be able to look further down the road than just in your immediate. And you'll be able to catch things. We call it instinct. We call it intuition. But all these things are strengthened with self-discipline. A lot of times we want to fast to heighten those things. Fasting heightens your senses. So upon a militancy, we use the word tactical. Looking at things from a tactical advantage, knowing when to do something, when not to do something, knowing how to respond and not to react. All of these things must be taught, either enhanced within yourself, and in doing so, strengthening those around you. You know, like we say, leaders don't teach people to follow. Leaders teach people to lead themselves. So in understanding that, right, that self-discipline is everything. It really is. So it's a mandatory absolute, and it's an essential, and it's a vital essential. As a man, as a patriarch in a household that's leading the family, you have to possess that trait yourself more than anything.
Great answer. Powerful answer. Haji, how important is militancy slash tactical awareness slash discipline to a patriarch?
Yeah, man. Told out to the Aki man. He really he spoke truth to power. That was just a great answer all around. I really don't have much to add. Outside of you have to. I kind of said it in the last. My last answer was you have to pre-act. Like you have to know where the line is. You have to know where the ledge is before you get to that point. Because for us, it's not a moving target. I've had conversations with my wife, and we've discussed, certain scenarios where, you remember in 300 where, the queen told Leonidas, said, you either come home with your shield or come home on your shield. Every patriarch has to know what those moments are. Not, because there's a time and a season for every purpose under heaven. And Abraham understood that. He knew when it was time to gird up. And then he also knew when it was time to form treaties and alliances with the Canaanites in the land. He had discipline when he was going through Egypt, told his wife, said, hey, I need for you to say, you, my sister, gone into the house of Pharaoh so that it may be well with me. Now you talking about a man who the Most High had already told him, all this gonna be yours. I'm gonna bless you. But he understood, and he had the discipline to approach it in a way where it was going to be the best outcome for him. See, everything you can't just be, it can't just be a full frontal. You have to, I know my brother can go into some of the, the military tactics and military science. There are different ways to achieve victory. Retreat is a military tactic that's viable in order for you to fortify yourself, then launch another offensive. So a patriarch should study, rules of engagement, rules of war. You should study the scriptures. Look at, a lot of times our ancestors, they practiced what would be called guerrilla warfare today. They didn't get in a line like the Europeans and then everybody hold up their gun, your turn, my turn, and just kill everybody off. That's not how our ancestors did battle or practice, militancy. So, studying other things, study what has been done, the Art of War, the Book of Five Rings, several other books, or just read the Book of Joshua. Check that out. That'll help you with your militancy. And I'll yield right there.
Great answer. Great answer. We'll start with Ak Sarum. How important are allegiances to a patriarch?
That's something that we actually building upon now, right? If you go inside our history, right, and we have been, if let's just say if we went inside the scrolls, I try to give a lot of living examples, right? A lot of practical living examples, right? But everywhere that those who represented the Creator went, they was all amongst the high hierarchy of the other nations, right? So in looking at that today, how we're scattered, how we are in some places it's just one family by itself. In some families, it's not even the male involved, it's just a woman and the children. We are in a time right now, right, that we're gonna have to look at, okay, you know what? I don't like you. I don't deal with you, but I'm willing to humble myself, right? So you can teach me how to farm so I can feed my family. I'm willing to have my son get taught by you in the discipline of militancy so he can help me protect the family. A lot of times, right, we let our hangups prevent us from getting done what's necessary in order for us to, how you say, better fortify the foundation of home itself. This is something that we have to stop doing because now more than anything, we need each other, whether we agree or disagree. Because at the end of the day, what lies ahead of us don't care about none of us, individually or collectively. So in looking at your family, what type of alliances? Because guess what? If you don't own your own business, you fill out a contract for your job and you work for them and they give you a paycheck. That's an alliance that's helping you pay your bills. So raising it up a notch. When you go down here, I got this brother that's teaching my daughters jujitsu. I got this sister right here that's teaching my children how to give birth in doula. I got this other sister that's teaching my children how to heal. So do you get what those alliances have to be done? Elsewise, it's going to fall upon you, patriarch, to go out and learn the skills necessary. So you have to come back and bring them home while you're trying to pay the bills, while you're trying. Do you understand what I'm saying? The removal of that burden. So think about alliances and allegiances, because that's what we up on. We up at that pat now. I can go through the scrolls and there's so many alliances and allegiances in it, and just like the Ark just said a few minutes ago, sometimes the greatest thing that you can do to win is to lose. Just to win.
Kane, I'm not sure if it's like Brandon may have dropped off. I don't know if he lost his signal. I hope the brother is still recording. But that's it. There you go.
Sorry about that. Laptop died on me. Where are we at? Have you answered yet? Haji?
No, I was just about to begin.
All right.
Yeah, totally great points. I'll just say this that no individual can beat or defeat a configured group. You know, it's easy to talk that nation talk. It's easy to talk that tribal talk. But what allegiances do you have? And I'll take it a level deeper. Do you have covenants? If you don't have covenants, what do you have? So I know that, the text, it tells us not to make covenants hasty. Absolutely, you should not be hasty. But you should consider making covenants with your brother, because if you expect a man to put his life on the line, to drop everything that he has, there needs to be a covenant with witnesses that I agree to A, B, C, D. And I call heaven and earth and these stones to record for me or against me this day. If we're going to say we follow the Israelite tradition and we are these people, this is what they did to form allegiances. They would intermarry, and through intermarrying, now you can begin to form a clan where everybody has specific goals. And if my daughter, and like, my daughter's going to, this man's house, now he and I have a vested interest. There are more eyes on the marriage. Everybody is rooting and supporting for that marriage to thrive and to be productive. That's an alliance. And then it grows from there. All those children from that alliance. So I'm of the firm belief, Aki. We're not trying to evangelize the world. That may be some men's goal. We were having a conversation, and I'm not going to go too far off path, but this is very near and dear. We were having a conversation about some of our women. And how many women do you know that have a kingdom consciousness, that are ready to like walk that walk? And that, people could not come up with very many women that they knew. And that's not a slight at them. It's just, it is what it is. So what is the solution? The solution is we're going to produce them. From our loins, we're going to produce them. We're going to produce. We're going to be fruitful and multiply and join families together to get the desired effect, versus me going out trying to evangelize and convince somebody to do it the way that we trying to do it. I don't have time for that. I'm going to walk this walk. And like the elder said, the brother, that, if you can't do it, or if you don't have that skill, or I'm sorry, if you don't allow those that are around you to be instructed by others and to pick up these other skill sets, you're going to have to know everything. And that's a very, very heavy burden. So allegiances are key for a patriarch. Very key.
I actually had a conversation earlier today. I was speaking with a sister about offices and everything. And I remembered Solomon. As smart and as wise as Solomon was, he didn't instruct or personally do every aspect of the temple. He went and found experts in each individual section, expert stone cutters, expert wood cutters, mathematicians, all that. Like, he went and got people that excelled in each individual thing, and he employed them. And how much more has he constructed that temple? Should we, in the constructing of our kingdoms with our families and as a nation, should we rely on those who are experts in certain areas? So yeah, that was a great point. Uh, Last question: how can a patriarch build allegiances, and who should he build them with? Let's start off with you.
Um, a patriarch has to know what his assignment is in the earth, and you build allegiances based on that strategy. What is the strategy? What is the plan that the Most High has for your life? Now we can start at a family structural level where you need to form alliances with other men so that you can direct your children. That's I mean we can't talk nation building if we don't deal with family structure. We can't make whores out of the daughters of Zion by allowing them to go out there in the streets with trial and error. Well, we'll let this little boy practice on her. We'll let that one try on her. We'll let this one drive it around the block. We let our sons go out there and sow their royal oats and get caught up in the world. We can't do it. Not from a righteous perspective. Now, if you want to be an American, be an American. Hey, I was an American. I thought like it. I came from the streets. You say you spent time in Anniston. I grew up in 21D Norwood Homes. I've been out there in the streets. I know what it's like, and in other sets. But the point is, we got to deal with family first. Patriarchs should be avidly, intentionally looking at the man. What quality of man is this? Would I be comfortable with joining houses so that my daughter can go to him, or he can give a son, give my son his daughter, and vice versa? That's what we should be focused on. All this other stuff, frilly, the going to the concerts and yelling Kwam Yashra Allah. Yeah, that's good. I get it, but that's not an alliance. That's familiarity. In order to build tribe, in order to build nation, you got to go a level deeper. You got to put it on the line. And men are scared. Man, I tell you, Brandon, man, I had conversations with brothers, and you start talking about covenants. Man, them brothers be backpedaling. Well, because, we should let your yay be yay. When you go sign on a contract to buy that house, to buy that car, that's a covenant. You signed a contract. Why are you afraid to sign a contract or a covenant with your brother in the presence of the Most High, the God that you say that you serve, who will hold you accountable? That's my take on it. Can't hear you.
I said that reason right there, it feels more real to them. It feels more tangible when they do it with a brother as opposed to a person in the world. It feels the consequences feel more ready at hand, especially with the kind of a brother like yourself that's passionate and uh, it's like a force with your life. I'm serious. I'm sincere about this. And there's consequences behind you breaking this contract. There's gonna be some earthly consequences behind it as well. So that that that's something like you said. Your mindset on that has been my mindset for quite some time now. Is that we've been taught to look in all the wrong areas. We've been looking under all the wrong rugs. Things like this, patriarchy, allegiances, having the reverence and the awe of those within your family unit. This is what's truly important. And all these other things just serve as distraction.
Yeah, and as you really said a lot there, because it's like we like to major in the minor. We try to look for reasons to separate. Oh well, he keep the Sabbath from sundown to sun up. I can't rock with that. I'm a sun up to sun. Like brother, that do you keep the Sabbath? Now Let's go a level deeper. Are you honorable? Do you have character? Or just because, okay, yeah, you got on fringes, you talking about keep the commandments, okay. But bro, you over here, you watching porn and you trying to take wife after wife. Where's your character? I look you in the eye and I can see that you lack it. No, I'm not gonna form an alliance with you. Now I may buy my food from you because you're a brother, but I'm not gonna give you a daughter. that's that's something a little different.
When you get into things like that, you really find out where a person stands. And a lot of people fear that rejection or that evaluation. It's like, Jordan, you're a great brother, but I don't think highly of you. You know, you haven't shown me enough
Right.
through your actions, through your, accumulation from your actions that would warrant me giving you something precious. And I think this needs to be brought to the forefront so that brothers could then, instead of hiding and shying away from these things, address it so you can get better, so you can do better. You know, I was speaking to someone earlier that a lot of my videos early on, I addressed issues, right? I always wanted to touch on these deeper issues, but I came to realize from watching me, I used to disagree with how you handle things as far as the even talk. I feel like how people so hard headed, they need to be ruffled up. But now I see why. Like your tone, how you handle things, that's a true confidence. That's a true understanding of who you are to your family, who you are to your brothers. And there's no need to get. There's no need to to get angry. I'm gonna I'm gonna give you the best information I can give you. And if you don't want to take that, then that's on you. You know, and that's something I've learned and analyzed in myself that I need to be more like that and not be so emotional, even about people's detriment to themselves. Because that's really what it's been. It's about like how can you be so deceived? You know, because these groups and things like that, they don't talk about these things. These groups talk about all the stuff that binds us. You know,
Right.
tell a man about multiple wives, but he don't know how to speak up to himself to be smart. He don't know how to problem solve. He don't know how to network. He don't know how to, these things in which we're speaking of now. These aren't the things that come to mind. Most of them, anyway.
See,
So, but,
no, these are some of the weightier matters where Todaf even sharing that, because my goal, Aki, Brandon, was that I never wanted to offend the children of the Most High because I know that comes with a consequence. Now, even the Messiah told us that it's better for you to tie a millstone around your neck than to offend one of these little ones. Now, a lot of us have been convinced that it's their job to take the gospel to the world and to wake up the people. And I don't believe that. I can see the way that these men behave. You were not authorized by the Most High to take his message by the way you deal with his people. See, if I know, like I have 4 sons, I'm gonna tell you, man, you handle my sons a certain way, mean you gonna have a conversation. And I'm a natural father. You can't handle my daughters just any kind of way. So when I'm interacting with people who may even be hostile or angry with me, it's not what they do, it's my response. and I'm always accountable to the Most High. I don't care about them. I can protect myself. I train. Some men like do this whole street thing, but like the brother Sarim, bro, I train for combat. So I don't look at my brothers as a threat to me, even when they're breathing out threats. I'm not even gonna get caught up in that. You know what, brother? I love you, and I'm out, and I can walk away because Brandon, I always wanted to be blameless. I can disagree with you, but still be blameless and not compromise my character and who I am. So that's my approach.
That is that's my thing as well, because to be well thought of, that's a part of your legacy as well, or at least for a person's accusations against you to not hold any merit when put up against questioning. You
Right.
know, what did he do to you? Did he take from you? Did he steal from you? Did he deceive you some type of way? When all these things become no,
Yeah.
and it becomes, well, what real issue do you have? But you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I've always tried to conduct myself in such a way and always analyze and see if I add up. Hearing you guys has been very edifying, and I hope it's been to people as well. Because a lot of these things we don't consider, at least to the depth in which you guys do. I know there's other patriarchs, there are other men who are heads of households, but I know the depth in which you take it, and I knew sorrow in which he takes it. So
See, it's
I just,
and Keith, just real quick, I'm just gonna say this one thing. It's a different in a patriarch that's practicing it, living it, and someone that's in training. There is a difference. Until you start to practice and applying the text and living it on a daily basis. See, my family didn't just start following me. I had to see another man. And that's why you hear me, I talk about the Honorable Elder Murray. You changed my life. I had to see somebody doing it. Everything is not vicarious. You can't just get it from the text and live through Abraham. No. You got to apply it. And you need someone to model it for you.
to that point, like I said, these groups and a lot of the narratives presented to the nation as qualities to seek after. I haven't really thought too much of these things because they haven't been tangible and they haven't been prosperous to us as a whole, right? What you speak of, what Solomon speaks of, these things, if practiced and if carried out, you see the economic, physical, mental, spiritual growth. What I get today out of the abundance of the awakening is a lot of spiritual and emotional exercise, I should say. Because I don't even know if I'm powerful growth. Now, true enough, there are strongholds in our lives, some trauma that, I never want. I speak about tangible things. A lot of spiritually minded people think you're bashing spiritual, but you gotta understand that's not my intention at all. It is by being spiritually minded, I've understood that there's physical work that needs to be done. That there's emotional work, like you said, physical, mental, spiritual. You know, um, without the spiritual, the other two don't matter. So they they're all inclusive, right? But anyway, um, leaders, leaders in Yahshua. Um, I've said a thing about, and I want to explaining. I said, no more leaders, just brothers, right? In the context of, like Serene said earlier, leaders don't teach to follow; they teach to build other leaders. And I feel like that construct is missing awakening to that. It's like a lot of leaders enjoy the high position. They enjoy the reverence of the congregation to the point of limiting the congregation to their own knowledge, their own understanding, instead of unleashing them to seek
Yeah.
knowledge and understanding, as the scripture says. Speak to that.
Well, it's like, you have those moments where you know that you're an Israelite. Now what? I done danced around, I done hollered, and I'm going back home and my house is still hell. My wife hate me, my children won't follow after me. So I'm just going to redirect my attention online and try to evangelize people that I don't even know. So I be like, brother, what's your house like? I don't need no specifics. But if those that know you the best don't follow after you, why would you think I'm going to follow you? If they won't hear you, what makes you think I'm going to hear you? See, whenever the Messiah sent men out, they had a sign. You asked me to speak. I said, brother, I speak the patriarchy because that's what I have. I have family structure. That's what I can speak to. That's what I'm passionate about. That is my legacy. Not how many people follow me on YouTube or how many people know me in the nation. I don't care about that. If this thing were to, I just said it in a video yesterday, the day before, my whole outcome or outlook, Brandon, was if this dies with me, then I have failed. So sitting up in a congregation, which I'm not mad at anybody in a congregation, this is not about that, but that's not patriarchy. My wife don't go and sit and let another man teach her. I teach my wife. I teach my family. No
Please,
other man has authority in the life of my family. That's patriarchy.
just please spend a couple minutes on that because they hear it from me. I've been known to speak on certain stuff. I don't know. But just expound on that, what that means to you and why.
Um, it's important for a man to be in front of his household, as you know, the Honorable Thomas Murray has taught us. You need to be the voice of reason. Don't talk to me about praising the God of your fathers. See, when it comes to like tribal structure, they were living the Bible as it was oral tradition before it was codified in the book. These sons saw the signs and the power of the Most High on their father, and they worshiped their father's deity. He taught them, he instructed them. Now, I understand how the kingdom grew, and ultimately we had Levites and all these other things, but we don't have that anymore. So each man should be positioning himself to be the strongest voice in the life of his family. Nobody comes along and my wife watched the video of this moray and she come back and gonna check me on what I need to do. That's not order. It's so many things that are out of order because a lot of times all we did was we stopped calling on Jesus and we just started calling Yahushua. We left the church and we set up a congregation and it's still the same. You change the different flavors, you put some fringes on it, but it's still the exact same structure where you got one man at the top speaking into the life of other men's wife, and they looking at him with affection and authority. We don't do that. No, I'm not saying that that man can't have an elder or something, but still, even our elders like, no, I don't want to speak to your wife. I want to talk to you. I did. So whenever you see my videos, Brandon, I'm dealing with men. I'm not going to talk to women and women's wives. Well, he said, no, 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 no. I want to talk to that brother. Brother, I want to talk to you. Because if we get you right, everything else gonna work out. That's the foundation. That's patriarchy, is a man that we built upon. So other men don't speak into my family. We don't do that.
This, brothers and sisters, is why Paul said that a woman should learn at home from her husband.
He ought to be teaching her. Absolutely.
Well, we close this thing out on that note. That's how you close out a patriarchy show. Absolutely. Um, well, thank you for
I
joining.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you for answering the call. May y'all Baruch you and as he has, may he do it even more so.
I appreciate you,
Thanks
man.
to you, thanks to Cyril. I think he got cut off for some reason, but thanks to him as well. Many Barakas to him and his family, and all those who view. Please like, share, comment, spread this word that these two brothers brought out. Very beneficial to all men. These things need to be heard. I know that it may sting a little. It may sting to some Morays. It may sting to some leaders. But listen,
I love him.
Get dogs holler.
I love him.
Nothing wrong. The
Yeah.
thing is, if he set a bar, why wouldn't you want to reach it? And if you haven't reached it, then you know what you need to do. These things should convict to repentance, hopefully unto salvation, because it's the value of the book. These kinds of characteristics is the characteristics of Yah. It's the characteristics of the patriarch. To be a firm hand, guide, instruct, to have reverence, to have, to be beneficial to all those who encounter you as a man. So thanks for that, Aki. Shalom to the brethren.
Shalom, shalom.
To Yahushua
Blessings
HaMashiach.
to your house. Appreciate you, man. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks to everybody for joining in for the chop up. As always, it's 12 tribes. There's one.